Welcome back to Inside the Lines. What a glorious day in sports. Happy NBA opening day to those who celebrate, but there's still a packed schedule of sports overall. We have some MLB playoffs with John. We have some college football, some games tonight, and some lines to go over for later. And then we'll get to those NBA previews of those two games tonight, maybe a little sneak peek of future. So ask your NBA questions in the chat. We are happy to answer them. Ask your MLB questions, whatever it is you want. We have answers. Everyone will be in the chat. So with that said, we're going to start with John. John had a great prop night last night, 3-0, and we're still positive so far through the playoffs.
Yeah, still very positive so far through the playoffs, and somehow positive yesterday, even while losing both of my massive money line plays with a lot of juice. So we will take that any day of the week, but hopefully we can get some different juju here with the sides today.
Agreed. We're going into that game 7 again. We're lucky to have 2 game 7s, and we're going back to the Phils.
Yeah, I mean, lucky for everyone else, not lucky for me who has a +17 future on the Phillies riding right now. But we're going to go back to the Phillies on the money line here. I mean, I think they're the better team overall, which is the first thing. But then also the starting pitching matchup, Ranger Suarez against Brandon Pfaadt. Ranger Suarez has been pitching very well. Brandon Pfaadt's still a rookie. I do think both of them are going to pitch solid in this game, but they're both going to get pulled very early because it's a game 7, and we know how these managers like to play their matchups and go to their bullpens. We could also see some starting pitchers available. I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Wheeler makes an appearance or if Zach Gallen makes an appearance in this game. So it will come down to the bullpens and the lineups here. I think the Phillies at home, it'll be interesting to see if the Phillies fans will have that kind of nervous energy because they haven't played in a game 7 yet. And I mean, going through many game 7s, as soon as you go down, there's kind of that quietness in the ballpark and nervous energy that goes around. So it'll be interesting to see if they go down, if the fans are still into it, or if they can get an early lead and get that crowd into it. But I like the Phillies on the money line tonight.
Yeah, really hoping for a hot start from them tonight. Other than your money line pick, we have a few props too for this game 7.
Yeah, got a few props here. And I mean, our first one, Johan Rojas under 0.5 total bases. It's at plus money again today. I think this has been the most profitable prop for us throughout the entire playoffs because we've been on it since the very beginning, and it's been plus money most of them. And he's only gotten a hit in 4 games. He's now 4 for 43 in the 42 in the playoffs. 4 for 42. So he's not hitting. He's not in there for his defense, for his offense. He's in there for his defense. He could get pinch hit for tonight as well if the Phillies go down in the game. So we're going to go right back to his under total base prop at plus money.
Okay, good stuff. What else we got?
Yeah, we got 2 more here. So Emmanuel Rivera under 0.5 total bases. This is also at plus money. It'll be interesting to see if he starts tonight. I think he's going to start against the lefty and Ranger Suarez, as he has been most of the playoffs against lefties instead of Alek Thomas. But Ranger Suarez is likely only going to go through the lineup 1, maybe 2 times. So I think Rivera is going to get pulled, pinch hit for Alek Thomas almost immediately, maybe after even 1 at bat. So if he doesn't start, this play is void. But if he does start, we really want this play in because I think he's going to get pinch hit for at some point and he won't get his normal number of at bats. Mm-hmm. And then our last play, Brandon Pfaadt, under 11.5 outs, minus 150. So it's a little bit juicy, but like I mentioned earlier, I think there's no chance that these starting pitchers get deep into the game. It's not personally what I would do, but we know how these managers love taking their starters out early and playing their matchups with their bullpens, especially when they have so many pitchers available in the bullpen like they do today, with some starters being available as well too. So I think even if he's pitching a no-hitter, I think he'll go 4 innings max, which is 12 outs, I know, but I think there's great value in his under 12 outs, considering that's as high as I think he'll possibly go.
Right. Jake also mentioning in the chat that we do have a yes run first inning at hitting 57% tonight. So a good thing to keep in mind for you who like to play those. And as well, Steven was talking about how you can get some better value at minus 133 on WinBet for that last prop there. So good luck to you tonight, John. For my own sake and personal reasons, I hope these all hit. and the Phillies take game 7 because nobody wants to see a Rangers Diamondbacks World Series. I mean, that just sounds terribly boring. So with that, I'm going to kick you out of here. We're going to move to college football with Jake. He's been on it. He's been looking at these lines. A game we have tonight, actually really interesting. Western Kentucky versus Liberty. Now, Western Kentucky opened as 1.5-point favorites originally, and then we got to Liberty -4. Now we're at Liberty -6, but the model still likes Western Kentucky.
Yeah, the model has Western Kentucky winning by 3. And I think what's driving that is that Western Kentucky's been much better at home. I think the public gets on Liberty because if you look at their last shared matchup, Liberty beat Jacksonville State pretty easily, and Western Kentucky got upset in their last matchup against Jacksonville State. So I think that's what's driving the public here. But I mean, I don't mind the money line play here. You get them at almost plus 200. West Kentucky's at home. They have Austin Reed. Liberty didn't look that good against Middle Tennessee State, especially on the defensive side last week. So I like this play, just a little bit of a gamble on the money line here.
Mm-hmm. And then this is a play we mentioned yesterday, so I'll just go over it briefly. Just wanted to prove that this was moving where we thought. SMU now 20.5-point favorites. You really want to get that before the number of 21. So that has already moved. Get on that now if you still haven't. But let's move to Mississippi State versus Auburn. They're now 6.5-point dogs. You can chop around for this and try to find 7, but the steam is certainly moving.
Yeah, the steam is moving. This is an interesting game because Mississippi State's quarterback, Will Rogers, who has 38 career starts, he missed last week, and the rumor going around is that he's probably out this week. But Mississippi State was able to win without him at Arkansas last week. So the public is heavy on Mississippi State at 77% here. We actually have some value on Auburn. So if you like Auburn, get them at plus 7. If you like Mississippi State, see if you can get a better number.
Mm-hmm. A game with a little weather going on here, Purdue and Nebraska, looking at a chance of rain here. Derek also mentioned in quick that SMU could be seeing some rain as well, scattered thunderstorms. But let's stay in Purdue versus Nebraska. That total has moved down to 40.5. Do you think there's any value left there?
I think there's still some value. So we don't have weather in our sim, so we don't. But I manually put weather in the sims, but normally we wouldn't have weather being accounted for. Without weather being taken into effect, we have this game coming at 41. But this game is going to be between 30 and 40 degrees and with a high chance of rain. So it could be a little slushy out there and just be gross weather overall. Nebraska, since they made their change in quarterback, they play a run-first offense with their quarterback running the ball a ton. So that benefits the under. The clock just keeps on ticking with that style of offense. The thing is, Purdue throws the ball quite a bit. They have Graham Harrell as their offensive coordinator, but they check the ball down a lot, which benefits the under here as well. So I would play the under at 40.5. If you take the weather into account, I'd probably have this around 38 in the Sims.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even a little bit of a snow mix. That's really interesting.
Yeah, a little slush action over there.
Yeah, we have no concept of time down here in South Florida or the calendar year, so that took me by surprise a little. Let's go to Notre Dame versus Pitt. Now, the public is just loving Notre Dame right now. They're coming off their bye week. They're feeling strong. This line started actually, some books were 17.5. Now they're 20-point favorites. Do you still like Notre Dame in this spot?
Yeah, so we have Notre Dame minus 18. So when it opened at minus 17.5, there's a little value, but it stayed consistent at minus 18 in our Sims. Its lines moved all the way up to minus 20 because the public's all over Notre Dame here, which makes sense because Notre Dame dominated USC in their last game. They had a week off. Pitt lost in a heartbreaker against Wake Forest with Wake Forest's third-string quarterback. So if you could get Notre Dame, I get them at minus 20 before it goes to 21. Steven says it's up to 20.5. So it looks like it will go to minus 21 pretty quickly. And in this game, so Pitt, they upset Louisville. And so there's a lot of money on Pitt last week against Wake Forest. And Wake Forest ended up winning that game with their third-string quarterback. I think that the public realizes that there's now film on Pitt's quarterback, and there was no film on him before. So Notre Dame should be well prepared for this game. That's why they're moving so far.
Yeah, and another marquee matchup here, Oregon versus Utah. Oregon now laying 7. You can shop around and find some 6.5 still, but you think this will slowly start to move to 7?
Yeah, this is another one where injuries are taking a big hit on Utah here. So that's why the lines moved from -6.5 to -7. Utah's middle linebacker is out for the season. He's their stud linebacker, Lander Barton. So mostly quarterbacks have the biggest line movement, but he's the leader of the defense. So that moved to the line a point and a half. I would play Utah over 21 team total here. They had this interesting team package where they play their running back, Jaquindon Jackson, who was a quarterback recruit for Texas at one point. They play him in the Wildcat. I think he's going to throw the ball at least once or twice in this game. I think they've been saving that package for him to throw the ball. I think Oregon's defense isn't that great on the road. They're allowing 24 points per game. So I think the safe play here is probably Utah's team total instead of any side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good to see that we account for linebackers. Not everybody is, so that's good to know, and probably affects games more than people like to believe. Let's go to a quick question in the chat here about Louisiana covering a 10-point spread. If we can head over to the model there, Stephen.
Yeah, I checked that earlier today. We have Louisiana winning by 7, I think, or 6. So not, or were they +10 or are they -10?
Let's take a look. I'm not sure who they're playing off the top of my head. Let's see. Come in here, Stephen.
Is it Marshall, maybe? It's South Alabama. It's another game. Okay,
so we like
we do like Louisiana to cover, but not a great ton of value here. So, I mean, I don't mind this play at +10. I think that's the best value probably get here. But this game scares me because South Alabama looked really good in their last game. Yes, they did play a terrible Southern Miss team, but I don't love either side here.
Yeah. Okay, don't want to force picks that we don't have major value on, but keep your questions coming. We're happy to answer them and look into them. Stephen, while I have you here, let's migrate into some NBA for the night. Jake, I'm going to give you a break. We'll bring in Derek as well. 2 games, Lakers at the defending champions and the Suns in Golden State with Chris Paul. It's hard to find value sometimes on these games when the lines have been out for so long. So not a ton of model value plays here, but overall we're seeing some line movement. Stephen, what do you think about the Nuggets laying 5.5 tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's waffled being -5, -5.5. Now, yeah, interestingly, you see 4.5 and 5.5. So it's really, depending on what side you're on, shop around and get the better price. But, we actually have value on the Lakers futures-wise this year. So could be interesting. The player I'm looking out for at this point in the year, for the first couple of weeks, we like to see players who have potential on new teams to see what their role is going to be. So Christian Wood is a player the Lakers got who played well per minute in the preseason, and he's someone I think we have a projected for almost 10 and 7. His prop line for rebounds is only 4.5. So, but again, first game. Wood has a reputation as being a bad defender, so I'm not going to come out and recommend that. The other thing we want to take a look at in this game is just the Lakers and their defensive improvement against Jokic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so with the Nuggets, I mean, they took a hit in their people on the bench. So in this game, you might see the depth of the Lakers take advantage of the Nuggets in this game. And then also, because of the trash talking of the Nuggets this past offseason, you're probably going to see, the Lakers, play with more motivation because of that. And then also LeBron James, he was asked about those questions. He's asked questions about the Lakers getting talked about by the Nuggets. So watch out for that too tonight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just answer in the chat. We do have Christian Brown at 7 points with, they lost a couple of the key members off the bench of the championship team. So, and he played really well, obviously, in the last year. So at plus money. The thing is, usually Denver has a huge edge at home because of the high altitude, but since it's game 1, that shouldn't be as significant.
Yeah, Brown is going to be moving into Brown's position from last year, so he should be getting those minutes that Bruce Brown had from last year.
Yeah, that's
the other game. Yeah, we had an A pick on Golden State for the last 2 weeks when the line was Golden State -1. because the Warriors, remember from last year, it was just the easiest bet in the world was betting them at home to cover and then fading them on the road. And but then the line came out with a change when Draymond Green went from questionable to out. That line bounced around to Phoenix as a slight favorite. And then Bradley Beal being is doubtful right now, line's back the other way. So at this point, we have even though offensively Green is limited and Bradley Beal is obviously known for his offense, in terms of the actual impact on the team, Draymond is much more valuable to the team's overall offensive efficiency than Bradley Beal is. So we don't have value in this game now that the Warriors are back to -3 favorites. I do think that people have overreacted to Beal's value. The player I'm looking at for this game is Nurkic, who when they traded away Ayton. I love Nurkic. His impact on the spread for Portland, they would go from a horrendous team losing by 10 points to just a bad team losing by 3 or 4 points when he's in the lineup. I don't know how he's going to fit with all the perimeter players, but he is a double-double machine if he gets 25 plus minutes. So I'm curious about to see what his role is against tonight. Probably isn't going to be the best indicator of what his role could be because the Warriors are so small. So maybe it's a game where Nurkic sits on the bench until he plays the bigger teams.
We are certainly high on Nurkic, though. Someone will look out for through this season. I want to give Jake a chance to go over just 2 futures he has for the NBA here. I'm going to bring him in quick, and then we can still answer NBA questions you guys have. This is a big NBA crew, so we'll have lots and lots to go over after opening night. But for now, let's just do 1 or 2 futures that you have. Talking about the Jazz were high on here. You like them to go over their wins.
I just think they have an incredible amount of depth. We have them at 38.5, 39 wins this season in Stevens Model. I just think even if they have a handful of injuries, they'll be fine. Chris Dunn has looked really good, especially on defense. He's kind of revitalized his career with the Jazz. Taylor Horton-Tucker had a good preseason, but you never know with him. I just think their depth wins out here, and they hit this number. I like playing 35 at -145 rather than I think it's 35.5 at -120 just to be a little safe.
Mm-hmm. And then one more future here, the Mavericks. This is not a Mavericks support group, so sorry for anyone who is a big Mavs fan, but we like them to miss the playoffs here. We don't think this is going to be a good year for them.
Yeah, I'm not high on this Mavericks team. It seems like wherever Kyrie Irving goes, that their locker room takes a bit of a hit. So I like fading them here. We have really good value on this play. I just don't think they're going to be that good. I mean, it's hard to bet against Luka since he's so talented. I'm more betting against Kyrie here. He's talented as well, but he's always hurt and he's always causing some problems.
He brings baggage, yeah. We don't like the baggage players. Let's answer one question here with Big Cheesy asking about the Kings. Their total is 44.5. If we have any value there.
I've been going back and forth on the Kings. I mean, I think there's one team that's going to have to struggle a ton in the West because the West is so deep. So I don't mind fading the Kings a bit here. And I saw Jason asked Austin Reeves points on Prize Picks. I'm wearing my Taco Tuesday shirt. You get him at 10.5 points. You got plenty of value right now. So if you have Prize Picks, get him at 10.5 points.
Noted.
I like fading the Kings because I don't love their depth. And if they have a couple of injuries, if Sabonis goes down at all, if Murray goes down, if Fox goes down, I don't love their depth.
Yeah, the big thing in the West is even the bottom teams all have reasons for optimism for potential 10-win improvements, except for Portland, right? Portland didn't win that much last year. But Houston, they had 2 major free agent acquisitions, and they have and they have a lot of second, third year guys who take the leap. San Antonio, Wembanyama, Utah's solid. So it's just like it's gotten competitive at the bottom. So all these teams that are used to getting 12 to 15 easy games now have games that they might not be so easy. Another reason Sacramento might have we don't have a ton of value on the under, but we do have the under because they had an aberrant year last year. They were actually better on the road than they were at home. And I think that's because they were an afterthought. They weren't a big national story, and teams took them lightly when they were coming into town. So it took around till February for people to say Sacramento actually tries really hard. And as good and great as De'Aaron Fox is, his unusually high clutch shooting is kind of an unsustainable number, I would think, given that he's not that great a shooter in the grand scheme of things. So I think that people are not going to be taking them lightly, especially early in the year. So that the more wins they had on the road. So the question is, are they more like the team that was okay at pretty good at home, or the team that was excellent on the road?
Yeah, lots of questions in the Western Conference that should be interesting this year to follow. Again, this is a pretty heavy NBA team, so we will dive more into after opening night. We'll certainly have more props and value to give you guys through time, but there's packed sports schedule right now in general. So we'll get through NBA or MLB playoffs, and we'll start to hit some NHL, and we'll start to hit some NBA more. So with that said, good luck with your bets tonight. A few college football games to look at, including that Western Kentucky money line if you want some value there. And then good luck with your NBA bets, and we'll see you guys tomorrow to talk a little more college football and NFL.
And everyone, good luck to Mackenzie and John, one for personal reasons for the Phillies and one for professional financial reasons for John.
Yes.
I don't want to, the show's canceled if the Phillies lose, huh?
Yeah, this is it. This might be the end. So it's been really nice.
This must be the last Inside the Line show.
Yes. See you guys later, hopefully.